Thousands of dolmens are scattered throughout the southern Levant, mainly in Syria, Israel and Jordan. These megalithic burials, dated to the early stages of the Bronze Age, are an understudied and little understood phenomenon of Levantine archaeology. Unlike in Europe, rock art has rarely been reported from Levantine dolmens, despite more than 150 years of research and hundreds of excavated dolmens of the thousands of megalithic structures recorded. A fortunate discovery in 2012 of engraved features on the ceiling of the central burial chamber of a giant dolmen in the Shamir Dolmen field has markedly altered our current body of knowledge. Since this finding, rock art has been discovered at 3 additional dolmen sites: Qiryat Shemona, Meshushim Pool and El-Kalha. Dolmens and megalithic structures were first reported in the Levant some 200 years ago. They have since been surveyed and excavated in the hundreds by almost all leading archaeologists working in the Levant. Yet, until recently, rock art was never reported in the Levantine megalithic context. Here we present recent discoveries in the Dolmen field located in the basaltic terrain of the Golan and Hula Valley. We describe 3 different features that we believe should be classified as rock art or adornment: engraved panels, shaped capstone and cut marks in non-functional locations. The Shamir Dolmen field is located on the eastern slopes of the Hula Valley, a northern segment of the Dead Sea Rift Valley. Here, the Golan Heights escarpment slopes westward into the Hula Valley in a series of tectonic faults, creating a terraced landscape. These terraces overlooking the valley were chosen by the Shamir Dolmen builders for construction of megalithic structures. The Shamir Dolmen field contains over 400 dolmens. The engraved rock art panel at Shamir was discovered in 2012 on the ceiling of the main burial chamber of Dolmen 3, the largest dolmen recorded to date from the Shamir Dolmen field and one of the largest dolmens ever recorded in the Levant. It is a multi-dolmen with a large central chamber and 4 smaller subchambers grouped within a single 20-metre diameter basalt tumulus. Chamber 3A is of rectangular shape, measuring 3 metres on the entrance axis and 2 metres wide, with a ceiling rising 1.7 metres above the chamber floor. The walls are built of massive basalt slabs, and the capstone covering the chamber is estimated to weigh approximately 50 tonnes. Excavation of the dolmen revealed a multi-burial of at least 4 individuals. Ceramic shards found in the burial chamber date to the Intermediate Bronze Age. The rock art panel is located on the southern eastern quadrant of the chamber ceiling. A group of 14 engraved forms compromises the panel. The forms are variants of a single motif, a straight line with a downturned arc attached to one end. The alignment of each element is slightly different, creating an arched path across the chamber ceiling that appears to move northeast to southwest. The engraved forms are abstract, and both their function and symbolic meanings cannot be determined with certainty. The location of the engravings on the inner dolmen chamber ceiling suggests that they were carved in the context of the burial excavated, the primary use of the chamber. The Nahal Meshushim Dolmen is a large single megalithic structure standing atop a low hill overlooking the Sea of Galilee to the southwest. Today, the dolmen is surrounded by the ruins of an Ottoman village, currently part of a nature reserve. It appears that the dolmen is a remnant of a vast dolmen field, spreading south and southwest on the western slopes of the Golan Heights, along the eastern bank of the Jordan River Canyon. The dolmen overlooks a large area and is highly visible from its surroundings. The dolmen's prominence may be the reason why it has survived when other dolmens in the field were destroyed. The dolmen is surrounded today by a stone fence of later date, with no tumulus. It is possible that the dolmen's original tumulus stones and some of its chamber's larger boulders were taken and reused as building materials in the surrounding village. The rock art panels are found in the inner face of 3 of the boulders forming the walls of the chamber. The figures were formed by shallow engravings, some of which are worn and faded, and, as a result, not always easily visible to the naked eye. The panel on the westernmost boulder of the chamber's southern wall contains a group of 6 carved horned animals. The animals differ in size and in the shape and angle of curvature of their horns, possibly due to representation of different species of horned animals. 2 of the animals are facing each other and appear to be the same size, almost reflections of one another. Yet, a slight difference between the curvature of the horns is discernible. It could be suggested that different sexes of the same species are represented here, as the animal with 2 raised horns has a visible penis, concluding that the other is a representative of a female. The second panel, located on the interior northern wall, a single-horned animal was carved. The third panel is decorated by non-figurative motifs. 3 crosses enclosed by rectangles are carved at its upper western corner. Qiryat Shemona. The Qiryat Shemona Dolmen field is located north of the city of Qiryat Shemona, on the low hills overlooking the Hula Valley from the northwest. A total of 25 dolmens were recorded at this field. Most of them were salvaged and excavated prior to their removal due to the construction of an industrial zone during the 1990s. Presently, only 3 dolmens remain standing in the Qiryat Shemona Dolmen field. The largest of these dolmens is located on a low hill overlooking the Hula Valley. The dolmen's chamber is roofed by a single large capstone and surrounded by 3 concentric walls. On the outer-facing surface of the capstone, several deeply carved straight and narrow grooves are clearly visible. These lines are precisely located to fit the overall shape of the capstone and seem to resemble a human-like face. 2 pairs of short lines mark the eyes, and a long line represents the mouth of the figure. On the southern end of the Chorazim Plateau, overlooking the Sea of Galilee from the north, stands the dolmen field of El-Kalha. In this region, more than 500 dolmens were reported. Several excavations at the site have taken place in recent years, dating them to the Intermediate Bronze Age, as the dolmens of the neighbouring Golan Heights. At the top of a small semi-artificial mound overlooking the Sea of Galilee to the south stands a large dolmen surrounded by 4 concentric circular walls. On the westernmost section of the dolmen's inner ceiling, a group of 4 large cut marks can be observed. They are similar in size, 10 centimetres to 12 centimetres in diameter, and 7 to 9 centimetres deep. Clusters of cut marks in a non-functional rock art context have been reported worldwide, including on dolmens from Europe to Central Asia. In many of these appearances, the cut marks are considered a dominant art. We suggest that this cluster of non-functional cut marks could be understood as artistic or symbolic as well. Dolmens or megalithic burials are scattered by the thousands in the Levant. As burials, their significance is clearly symbolic and religious. Nevertheless, after nearly 200 years of research, rock art in the context of dolmens has really been reported in the Levant. The primary significance of Levant dolmen rock art lies in its context. Rock art in the southern Levant is primarily found on rock surfaces in the desert region. As such, the art panels lack context, and fixing their chronology is highly challenging. The dolmen rock art reported here can be ascribed to the actual building of the megalithic burials. This argument is based upon the following observations. The patination of the engraved features is, in all cases, similar to the surrounding rock face, showing no indications for a later age for the engravings. The location of the rock art panels in the inner central chamber, invisible from the outside, suggests that they were part of the ceremonial and/or burial activity related to the dolmen building and use. Our knowledge of the culture of the people who constructed the megalithic burials in the Upper Galilee and the Golan is minimal. In this respect, the contribution of the rock art found in the dolmen context is significant. It is bringing us another step closer to a better, deeper understanding of this enigmatic civilization.